Hi, so let's get started. We need to jump right in because we're in week one. So let me do a screen share. Our topic this week is talking about technology, of course, and talking about social media. So let me screen share and show you what resources there are. So when you come to the website, I've been doing a little bit of remodeling, not too much. You're going to scroll down. And remember, look in important information. That's where you'll find things like the syllabus. The grade book will be open soon. The class schedule will be there soon. And then the help desk is useful. Tech news, that's just articles, different things that have to do with technology. So you'll find that as a good resource because on Thursday, one of the things you need to do is bring a tech related article, okay, that you have actually read. So make sure that if you don't know where to look for, make sure that you jump in here, tech news, and just click around. MIT Tech Review is one of my favorite, but there's a lots of good information here. All right, and so just to remind you, the getting started assignments, these are due, some are due tomorrow night. So there's 4 different things due tomorrow night. Now don't just say, well, I'm in Discord and I'm in Zoom, so I did it. There's actually something you need to do in addition to just showing up. So make sure you read through these assignments down here. And then this last one's a little tricky. Well, it's not really tricky, it's super easy. You're obviously logged into Moodle if you're watching this video here, or if you're watching it in Moodle. So you've got that part down. So you get the points for that, but you get bonus points. So you get the full credit if you actually complete all the other assignments in time. Like if you complete them all by their due date, you get some extra points here on this Moodle assignment. And then these are the slides that I showed you on Tuesday in our Zoom call, in case you want to go back over those. So the thing you really want to focus on is our social media, week one social media. Now, keep in mind, we're doing 3 weeks of work for every week we're in class. That's a lot. Now, for this week, I only gave you 2 weeks of work for every week we did for this week because I didn't want to kill you in the first week. I want you to get organized and oriented and figure out how to communicate and all those other good things. But every week will look similar to this, okay? So start here. There's always a couple of things. There's always these 2 things. So this, what are we doing this week? That's this video. Watch it first. Even if you don't have any time at all on Monday, which is the day it'll normally open, even if you don't have any time at all, other than to take like 30 minutes to watch the video and go over this checklist. That way, at least you have an idea of what's going on for the week. So speaking of the checklist, this is your most important document, like seriously most important document. I made an animated GIF up here because this is the little button you want to push on the document to open up. I'll show you in just a minute. Anyhow, I have it so you can get a preview down here, but the preview never formats quite right, and but you can look at it. However, what I highly recommend is that you click the direct link to the printable document. The reason for this is that it will, I give you a link here, right here, if you want to know how to make a copy of this. But you can make a copy of this document into your own Google Drive and then like delete things or cross things out or make notes or whatever you need to do to check off that you've done things. All right. So I'm not going to read through this whole thing. I'm just going to give you an overview. And here's this document outline button that the picture talks about. Whoops. And this will let you jump down. So here's the 2 different parts. And I'll probably do something like this since we're combining weeks. I'll have part 1, part 2, part 3, depending on what our topics are. But each week, so let me close that. Each section is going to be broken into 3 main parts, okay? And so there'll be a think part, a learn part, and then a do part. I highly recommend you go over things kind of in that order, in the order that they're presented here, because the think part is what we're going to talk about in our Zoom sessions. So for sure, watch the think videos before you come to Zoom each week, okay, or each time. The do part, you're going to need the stuff in the think and the learn to do the do. So I'll just show you this. I'll scan down real quick, but like I said, I recommend there's check boxes. You can't actually check them, but you can definitely go in there if you print it off or something and use this as your guideline. In this particular one, I actually put a list of some of the resources that are in the help desk just to give you an idea of what they're about. And as we go through the class, other resources will open up there. So let's go back to Moodle. And again, the videos are usually embedded, so you can just watch them right here. Or you can click this little icon up here to break out and go to YouTube directly. Or down here, usually at the bottom, it's got an alternative link. Again, that'll break it out of Moodle and you can go there directly. So watch these two videos. Now this attention economy one is really interesting because it's a weird phrase like attention economy. What does that even mean? So one of the things to think about in an economy, what's valuable? Like what makes something worth a lot of money? Why is gold so valuable? Why are certain things so valuable? What does that have to do with this video? I'm going to guess that there's a few things in this video that you maybe knew about, but there's probably a lot of things that you didn't. So pay attention, watch that. We'll talk about that in Zoom. In this learn part, I've got a couple of different things. So how can social media make history? Now this is a video, it's a TED Talk. I love using TED Talks. This is a TED Talk by Clay Shirky. He gave it in about 2008, so it's getting a little old, but the reason I like to use it is because he gives a bit of a history about what's going on in social media and how communication has changed over a long period of time. And so I think you'll find that very interesting. The next part is our GCF Learn website that we talked about. If you took the syllabus quiz, you know what I'm talking about. This is our alternate textbook. Well, it's not really an alternate textbook, but it's a really, really good resource for you. And so there's some information there on Twitter. And I would say, even if you are a Twitter person, like if you've used Twitter and you know it inside out, just scan through it and see if you can pick up anything new. But if you've never used Twitter before, this is a really good resource to figure it out. But this last video on the Learn is actually made by a CIS101 student, and he made a how-to video on how to use Twitter. So, they're always kind of changing and tweaking the interface. There might be a thing or two different from what he has on his video, but he'll give you a really good idea, and it's not very long. I think it's only about 5 minutes long. He'll give you a really good idea of how Twitter works from a student's perspective. And then finally, I keep mentioning the T word, but we can't learn about social media unless we do social media. And even if you do social media, we're going to do social media in a way that's probably different than you've ever done it before. We're going to do social media academically. Like we're going to use it to create a personal learning network that's relevant and resourceful and that I think you'll find a lot of value in. So this will be an interesting application for you, but you got to start first. Create the Twitter account if you don't have one already. Now, I will say, if you have a very active Twitter account, a lot of students who do that create one just for the class. So that way they can separate their personal stuff and their school stuff. So it's up to you. Whatever you do, create an account and get that done as soon as possible. It'll only take you like 5 minutes. The hardest part will be to come up with a name of our username. But if you get that done, just get it done because you're going to need it for homework in the next section. And the homework in the next section, you're going to want to start right away. All right. So down here on this part 2, social media, this is where we're going to really focus in. So digital transformation, socialnomics. So it's kind of that economic, economy sort of thing again, but it's from a different perspective. I think you'll find it interesting. And it's really short. This next one is the TED Radio Hour, which is a podcast, and it's super interesting because they always come up with a theme, and then they pick like 4 TED Talks, sometimes 5, but usually 4 TED Talks, and they talk to the speakers, and they kind of intersperse the speaker with the TED Talk and questions, and it's a really good interview. It's really interesting because you get behind the scenes of some of these talks. Anyhow, this is a conversation with Clay Shirky, the guy from the previous video that I told you to watch. And some more information in there. It's just really good. So watch those before Thursday. Now, in the learn part here, we've got two different things. I've got chapter 5 or unit 5 textbook. It's a PDF. It's not a beautiful PDF, but it's better than nothing if you don't have the book. Like I said, some of it does some weird overlapping and stuff, but it's not bad. And if you want to look at it in its own window, click this, or you can download it. I'm only going to put up the first couple chapters though, because that's all I have. So you kind of need to get the book. You can rent it for really cheap. It's like $30 on Amazon, I think. And I don't know if that gives you the digital version, but you can probably get the digital version if you like those. Anyhow, this next one is how to use social media in your career. Because you may not have noticed, or maybe you did notice, social media is playing a huge role in economics, in national politics, in international politics, and all kinds of things. So this is a New York Times article about how you can use it to further your career. And that might be really interesting and useful. Now let's get down to the homework. Well, the homework, I guess it's all homework because we're all at home, right? I'm going to go backwards. So start here and then work my way there. Week 1, logging out. So this isn't available right now, but you'll probably have one of these just about every week, okay? And it'll help me touch base with you. And I won't always get a chance to respond, but I will always read all of them. But on Friday morning, this will be available. What that will do is ask you just a couple of questions. Ask you how the week's going, what you learned. If you want full credit, you have to give me a full answer. Like I'm expecting at least 2 or 3 sentences per question. You can write more if you want, but I wouldn't write less, like you won't even get credit. So pick something, describe it well, give me some details, help me understand what you're talking about. Social media unit 5 quiz. So for every chapter, we're gonna have a chapter quiz. It's like 20 questions, open book. It'll be open from, let me see, where did I put the date? Probably, I'm not going to open it Tuesday. I'm probably going to open it on, well, maybe I'll open it Tuesday since that's what it says. Anyhow, usually it'll be open for like 4 days. So usually it'll be open from Thursday until Sunday. But this week I'll leave it open a little early. And you'll get 2 attempts to take it. It's open book. But if you haven't read the chapter, it'll take you a while. If you've read the chapter, you'll whip right through it and it's easy points. Mostly it's touching base on the main ideas in the chapter. So let's go to the last thing. Oops, that file closed. Let's go to this last thing, is follow 50. So frequently in Moodle, what I'll do is give you, like there'll be a document that fills out the instruction details, but here in Moodle, I'll kind of give you the Cliff Notes version. And so what this assignment does, let me just click on that. This assignment gives you the opportunity to start building your network and to learn how to use this social media, okay? And you might already know how to do it, but it's gonna show you some tools, and even people that have used Twitter for a long time, they don't actually even know about some of these. There's things like lists, there's a way to curate the topics. You can use hashtags to search, like, yeah, but you have to find out what hashtags are. So you can use filters, you can do all kinds of interesting things to make it a little bit easier. I know most people think it's like about what you ate for lunch, but it's not about that. It can be about that, but that's not how we're going to use it. So make sure, this is a long document, and when I was an online student, I would print off stuff like this and keep it in a binder so I could make notes on it and circle things and ask questions. So what I'd like you to do is read this by Thursday so that you have some good questions, so I can help you. But you're probably going to want to get it started because part of it's due Sunday, but you need to be able to read things for a few days on your Twitter account. And so, and then I always have a section like, here's how you submit it. So follow that carefully. Follow the how you submit a part carefully. What this is a discussion forum. And since we haven't used that yet, the way you do that is add a discussion topic. And when you click that, you type in whatever you want to type in. If you click this arrow, there's some more formatting tools here, and then you post it. That's all there is to that. And if there's already a post there, it'll have a reply button, like you can read the post and reply. It'll make a threaded discussion. Most of you are probably familiar with that. I'll show you one other type of assignment because there are a couple of different types. Let's go back to that, create a Twitter account. On this one, here's all the instructions. All you're going to do is click on add submission, and you have to go back down and just type in what your Twitter username is. Now be careful, make sure you give me your actual username, okay? So that way I can go look it up and check it off and stick it in my file because I will be looking at your Twitter account because that's part of what we're going to do here. Anyhow, this is an online text and you just type it in and click Save Changes. When you come back to, I wonder if it'll let me do it. Oh, actually, that's not mine. Let me just put this one, Prof. Curdy. I don't know if it'll let me do it because I'm in student mode. I guess we'll find out. Oh, there it is. So when you submit it, online text, it'll show you down here. So whenever you submit, if you go back and look at it, it will show it to you. So you can see that you submitted it. So if you see it, I see it, we're all good. So I think that's all there is to this week. Make sure, like I said, make sure you read the stuff or look at the stuff in the start here. This is a video that I made about social media. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail right now. Watch this video. Here's a copy of the slides that went with the video because you might want to click on some of the links that I show you. And that will give you a good overview. And then on Thursday, so watch the Think videos. So we're going to do discussions just like we did on Tuesday. We'll probably break it up into a couple of different breakout groups. So I'll have the Zoom room open probably 10 minutes early, so like 10 minutes to 10. I'll probably have it open for people that want to just jump in and be ready for that. And I'm looking forward to our conversations. Tuesday was a lot of fun, so I'm sure Thursday will be also.